You know, guys, the last 24 hours have been extremely disappointing, especially for the Call of Duty community, guys. I'm actually very deeply disappointed in every single Call of Duty fan and gooch licker that has been essentially crashing out online, especially on Twitter, because of the new chart data that came out for PlayStation and Xbox as it pertains to Call of Duty HQ as well as Battlefield 6. I mean, I've seen every take imaginable. I've seen people say Battlefield 6 is dead. I've seen people say that Call of Duty is untouchable. And as the Scat Master, that's very heartbreaking to hear, because you would think after 800 videos from me that some of these gooch lickers would just understand basic math and basic common sense, but unfortunately they don't. So here we are yet again, ladies and gentlemen. The Scat Master is back. I have midterms today as you guys are watching this probably, and instead of studying for that shit, we gotta make a video because these guys are literally fucking stupid. And we're gonna get into it right now, but before we do, guys, I'm gonna need you to firmly grasp the fucking like button and anaconda squeeze it immediately, and subscribe if you're new, guys. You know what to do down in the comments below. Hashtag F7. We're on the way to 70,000 subscribers. We're very close to 65K, which at that point, we're doing a giveaway for Battlefield 6. And on top of that, guys, this Friday, I am dropping another free copy of Battlefield 6 in my live stream, so you're all invited to that shit. Please join up. And without further ado, guys, let's get into this tweet that comes out from Charlie Intel. We're not gonna call him Scat Master Charles today because, frankly, some of the engagement baiting that is happening here is this is just something I would expect significantly more from somebody like Charlie Intel, who handles this type of shit. Call of Duty was the most played game in the US on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S for the week ending on Saturday, October 11th. During the Black Ops 7 beta, Battlefield 6 debuted in terms of players at number 12 on PS5 and number 8 on Xbox 24 hours after its launch. So before I start dismantling every single short bus riding Call of Duty gooch licker's logic and takes and claims on Battlefield 6 versus Call of Duty as it pertains to this data right here, we need to break down this tweet because this is essentially the source of all the misinformation that you're seeing on the timeline everywhere, and I'm happy to explain it to everybody. First of all, saying that it was the most played game in the US on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S is not true. This is data that pertains to all of PlayStation as a platform, so that's PS4 as well as PS5, and yes, that is important, as well as Xbox One as well as Xbox Series X and S, and again, that is important, and you'll see why later on. Secondly, remember that the data ends on October 11th. That is a very important date, as well as the fact that this was during the Black Ops 7 beta, which is high prime time, but on top of that, when we talk about the HQ, you'll see why this is important. The next thing is that Charlie Intel says that Battlefield 6 debuted at number 12 on PS5 and number 8 on Xbox, which again are two totally different things, alright? He says PS5, but what he means is PlayStation as a whole, which is interesting because he says Xbox rather than Xbox Series X or S, which is the current gen, and he doesn't mention old Xbox generation consoles, so instead he just says Xbox, but for PlayStation he doesn't say that, he says PS5 specifically. Again, just these inconsistencies make up for the misinformation that you're gonna see on the timeline here very soon. Now guys, before I even get to the chart itself, I want to ask you a very serious question. I want you to tell me right now, without seeing the data, what do you think is more popular right now? Battlefield 6 or WWE 2K25? And please, feel free to take your fucking time. How many times have you heard of the new WWE game from last year versus Battlefield 6? You tell me which one you have heard more about. What's that? You've heard more about Battlefield 6? Well, how would you like to know that according to these charts, WWE is ahead of Battlefield 6? Now, that might make you wonder right now, is this chart data even something significant to go off of in terms of popularity and impact? Clearly the fuck not. No. But these people online will have you believe that it is the end-all be-all for Battlefield 6 and Call of Duty. Not to mention, Call of Duty is not Call of Duty, it is Call of Duty HQ on the charts. And we've talked about this before, guys. What is the Call of Duty HQ in today's times? Well, we know it no longer includes MW 2019 Part 2 and 3, but it does include Warzone, all of it, which is free to play, Black Ops 6, and, guys, get this, Black Ops 7. during the beta, which is stated in the tweet. Given that information, is it surprising to you that Call of Duty HQ is at the top of any of these charts? Honestly, to me, as somebody who is very critical of Call of Duty, I'll tell you guys right now, Call of Duty can suck my balls from the back and from the front, from the left, from the right, I don't care. But my negative feelings towards Call of Duty do not change the fact that, obviously, with the HQ considered, it's gonna go number one on these charts. And even I can admit that. Now, it's important to note this, is that this chart data was for last week ending October 11th. Guys, when did Battlefield 6 come out? That's right, guys. It came out fucking October 10th. So, all of this data that you see here, all of these games that are listed, they have a week's worth of tracking time on them, where Battlefield 6 only has 1 day. And if for whatever ungodly reason you fucking Call of Duty gooch-licking morons, you short bus riding dweebs, if you believe that that does not matter, you are fucking stupid.
Sweetie, what is your condition?
How should I know? I'm retarded.
Let me ask you a simple question to get it through your thin fucking cranium. Person A does as many push-ups as humanly possible on one single day. Let's just say Friday. Person number 2 does as many push-ups as humanly fucking possible from Monday up until Sunday. Which person do you think has done more push-ups? The guy that has only done push-ups for 1 day, or the person that did push-ups every single day of the week? You tell me which one you fucking think has done more push-ups, you fucking low IQ bottom percentile decimal of a fucking human being. There's a reason we believe not everybody in the Call of Duty community deserves a fucking opinion. Because guys, when you look online, this is the type of shit that you see. You see all of these moronic content creators and accounts, people who are failed Call of Duty pros who that never fucking made it because they're fucking frog shit at the game, coming out here with all this smoke and energy and hype about how Battlefield NPCs are stupid, and then they're making fun of people who said Battlefield numbers on Steam were very good. We'll talk about that later as well. You even have people telling these guys that they're stupid for looking into this when Battlefield 6 only has 1 day worth of tracking on this week specifically, and people don't respond to this. Like, that is the one point already that just breaks this entire thing down. Nobody has a response to this. The only response I'm seeing is, oh well, just wait until those first week numbers, then next week, then we'll truly show you, man. My response is, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Right now, we're talking about the now, and the now says that all of this hype and energy that these dumbasses have online is completely fucking invalid and inaccurate as fuck. And I don't even blame half of these people. I mean, you got like baldy ass 8 Thoughts out here thinking that he did something. I mean, the guy's channel's been fucking dead, and I mean every single last one of them. I feel bad for the fucking guy, man. Look, I'd be grasping for straws too if I was a 70-year-old bald content creator that's getting his ass handed to him by a bunch of stupid ass content creators like me and the Rick. We got the good old Activision Tiana Trumps out here like Dyke Dynamite talking about today should mark the end of the Steam chart and COD is dead narrative. It won't. Call of Duty simply dominates every other platform while Battlefield doesn't.
I know dreams of ghosts traveling up out of the grab the way I want it, don't matter. Dance with the devil, I'm walking off in the pop a lot. If I never.
Brother, we don't respect what you have to say. Activision literally sees you as a floating dollar sign, and if they don't see you like that, they see you as a fucking hole. Alright, and I'm not gonna go any further into what I mean by that. They literally see you as a hole. Then you have other people that, once again, they disprove all of these claims from these people. This guy Bam Bam says, you'll get official numbers for how Call of Duty is doing at this very moment if they release numbers for the next week after. Battlefield was only tracked for 1 day and Call of Duty had a beta. And this fucking idiot responds with, yeah, but launch day is gonna have the majority of players. That is simply not fucking true. We actually had confirmation from a Battlefield developer that said Sunday, which was 2 days later, had the biggest peak amount of players that they've had, period. And you might say that statement contradicts what you see on Steam, but what you fucking morons are not realizing is that you guys are the people that told us that Steam does not tell the whole story. Because clearly, even though the Steam player count was dropping after Friday, which was the first day of launch, if that number was decreasing, and then on Sunday, they claimed that they had the biggest amount of players that they've had, period, and the numbers on Steam were dropping, then what do you think that means for the other platforms? That means by Sunday, more people were purchasing and playing on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S, which already disproves this whole thing about Battlefield being available for one day on this specific chart versus all of the other games that were there available for the entire fucking week. Oh, but you know what? That actually reminds me, guys, let's not forget that all of the games that you see on that chart, especially Call of Duty, are available on how many platforms specifically. We're gonna count it because I understand a lot of these Call of Duty gooch lickers are fucking stupid. We'll start with Call of Duty. Any of the modern CODs are available on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, Steam, PC Game Pass, as well as Battle.net. That is 7 total different platforms that you could be playing on. Battlefield 6 is available on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Steam, as well as the application for EA. How many platforms is that, guys? That's fucking 4. Of course, on any given chart data that you see that includes the popularity of games on an entire platform such as PlayStation and not divided between PS4 and PS5, of course the game that is only available on PS5 is going to be outperformed by a game that is available on both PS4 and PS5. Are these people taking that into account? Probably not. Are they stupid? Probably. What I think a lot of people would take a little bit more seriously was if some of these charts gave you true data for the following. Instead of going by console type, why don't we go by console generation? So let's talk about PS4 games versus other PS4 games and PS5 games versus other PS5 games. Why don't we also stop with some of this HQ shit that not only Call of Duty does, but I've heard other video games do as well. Let's talk about solo titles, alright? Independent titles that are not combined with the data of other games such as Warzone and BO6 and BO7, and back then we had MW 2019 Part 2 and 3. Let's talk about BO6 by itself. Let's talk about BO7 by itself. Honestly, let's talk about Warzone numbers by itself. Also, I am curious to see what happens if we wait an entire week after the launch of Battlefield 6, because as far as I'm aware, people are already posting the top 40 most popular games on Xbox for the week ending of October 19th, which is the following week. And as you can see, Battlefield 6 has already jumped up to number 2 and it appears to continue rising while Call of Duty is actually dropping. Now, there is a good chance that Battlefield 6 can crack into at least the top 5, maybe even the top 3 for some of these platforms for PlayStation and for Xbox. But the truth of the matter is, even by the end of next week or the week after that, it is very likely that Call of Duty HQ is still up top at number 1, simply because we're talking about PS4 and PS5 instead of just PS4 or PS5. And additionally, we're talking about an HQ that combines multiple titles and not just one independent title. You can tell me that Steam doesn't count for Call of Duty, but it does for Battlefield 6. Again, I don't really know how that shit works in your brain, but fuck it, man. If you can provide me proof that there's more people on Battle.net than on Steam, I'd be happy to look at it. But the fact of the matter is, you can't fucking do that because you don't have the data for Battle.net. None of us do. You can tell me shit like, oh, well, it performs better on Battle.net than Steam. That's why nobody plays on Steam. Okay, so show me the comparisons between FPS and the GPU and the temperatures. Show me with true physical proof that Battle.net performs better than Steam. I've played Call of Duty on Steam and I've had 0 issues with it. 0. Additionally, I don't care what cope you have for this. Steam is literally like the fastest growing platform on the fucking planet for video games, above consoles, man. And yes, there is data and numbers to back that claim up. I'm not just giving you baseless bullshit claims. I've said this on Twitter, but I'm gonna say it here again in closing. I challenge any Call of Duty fanboy or gooch licker, anybody that's into chart data and numbers, anybody that simply just wants to go against what I say. I challenge you to disprove any claim that I made in today's video. Please explain to me how a point like Battlefield coming out on October 10th in relevance to chart data that ended on October 11th, tell me how that's not relevant. Tell me how that doesn't matter for the chart data. My guess is you probably fucking can't, man, and unfortunately, this might mark the resurgence of the scat master talking shit in the Call of Duty community full time once again. But that's gonna do it for me today, guys. I'm curious to know what you guys think about all this. What are your thoughts on this chart data and everybody that's just throwing shit in the air hoping it sticks somewhere? Let me know down in the comments below, and if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notifications to stay up to date with my newest videos. And yeah, guys, it's been the boy Fooly. Have yourselves a good one. I'm out of here. Peace.
This ain't in my body.